Welcome. I'm telling you. Episode number 9. This is Gemini.
Billy D.
What's up?
That was a hell of an intro, my friend.
Here we are.
Yeah, I feel like this is special for you.
Whoops. I need somebody. Whoops. That was completely accidental.
I don't know. I think that was very Freudian of your phone there, perhaps.
It's got a mind of its own.
Do you feel that you require assistance, good sir? All right. So I feel that this is number 9 seems to be special for you. Is there something you'd like to?
Well, number 9 is just a special number, isn't it? Number 9 is a great number.
No, 8 is great. 9 is divine.
9 is divine. Well, yeah. I mean, it's the highest number if you think about it.
Well, correct when you get to 10, because 1 plus 0 is 1, and it kind of starts all over again. So 9 is like the end of the cycle. So it's like 0 to 9.
It's 0 to 9, exactly. So 9 is actually the highest number. And if you add all numbers up to 9, and then you reduce it, you still get 9.
1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 equals 45. 4 plus 5 equals 9.
Bang. There you go.
Math. Yeah.
It's just weird, isn't it?
Well, so we had this discussion before where I say that's the relationship of what it is to be of the prime number 3. Just like there's the alternate, which is the prime number 1, that is 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 4 is 4, plus 8, 8 plus 8 is 6. So all those numbers only add up to, 2, 4, and 6 or something, or 2 and 4 or whatever, I think. So it's like, that's the math of the prime number 1. So to me, that's not really weird so much as, like, that's just the relationship of math.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there is something special about the number 9.
Well, but now, see, I also agree with that because, like, I do the 369 thing. I do the whole Tesla thing. Like, I'm trying to align with that kind of idea. So, I'm not, like, discrediting, but to me, it's like, all right.
It still gives power to 3, but, it's actually, it gives double power to 3. Or even you could say triple.
Well, hit triple, you say? Okay, easy there. Well, but that's my thing is like, all right, so I can see that there's a relationship there. That to me is not special. What that can relate to or represent or allow you to connect or align with, that's what I'm after, right? Like what you can do with it. What is its practicality? Like, I can see that it's like a rule, but I need an example so I can understand it better. I'm a hands-on type. Like I need an example. Show me how to do it.
What about all these numbers that come out of the Fibonacci? I mean, well, let's see if I can look that up. I don't know. Are we
fact checker?
Are we playing that game?
Again,
yeah.
Please put your resume into the comment. We're at link to. Right, drop an email. We info at whatchamacallit something or other .com. We gotta claim that domain. Yeah, that domain. I think I just created a new word. Mm-hmm. I conjugated it again. Well, that's what I do.
What
do you do? I
want to see if I can find. Well, I mean, what I found right now was it goes up to the 10th power, but Fibonacci to the 10th power. That's not enough. Like you need to keep going.
I don't even know what you mean right now.
Like the sequence.
You're a sequence.
You know what the Fibonacci is what every number that gets represented is represented by the 2 numbers before it. So those 2 numbers get added, that represents the new number. So it's 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13,
well, no,
21, 34.
1 plus 1 is 2.
Right.
2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. Like 5 plus, so yeah.
5 plus 3 is 8.
And then
8 plus 5 is 13.
Correct.
Right,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
You got it.
You got it.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but those are not always going to equal numbers that are derivative of 3, 6, and 9. Which to me, even if it is of 6 and 9, it's also still of 3 because those are of. That's why to me it's the math of the prime number 3. I bet you there's probably a sequence in there for 5 or something. You know what I mean? guarantee it. You go through all the prime numbers. I get you. Every prime number has its own like internal math. Math nerds out there, if you guys haven't been doing this, ladies, whoever is the AI, I don't give a crap. Whatever you identify as, if you are a math geek of sorts, please do this math for us, and then
Yeah, because I'm not. I am totally not a math geek.
Well, I'm geeky enough that I want to hear about it, and I want to read about it and know it. I don't want to do the work. I just want to read about it. That's not my that's not my gift. So that's not my place to do the work. And that's what, if it doesn't resonate on that level, it's like that's probably not my job. So yeah, no. Math people, unite. Do the math for us. Run the numbers. Thank you.
So we are here tonight on
It's the 13th.
oh wow. It's lucky number 13.
Sorry. Even though we started on the 12th, which technically is 3. Because you take 1 plus 2 is 3.
Well, yeah, we're on the 14th now.
Oh, it's the 14th. Oh, we started on the 13th.
It is now. Yeah, it is.
Oh, it's Valentine's Day. Oh,
It is now
you're my Valentine.
Oh.
That's awesome. Because I don't really celebrate that, so it doesn't matter.
It is now. It is now Sunday.
What are you gonna do? It's Valentine's.
I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
No, it's okay. You don't have to. I don't
Actually, I
believe in it.
have dark chocolate in the fridge if you want some chocolate.
I want sexual chocolate. Sexual chocolate, everybody.
Yeah, you can get that from me.
That's
I mean, we cool and all, but
No, that's in,
wait.
in the comments.
Oh, I forgot about this. Hey.
Oh.
Yeah. Sláinte.
Salud.
Salud. Cheers, mate.
Let's drove you.
Sicky. Wait, no, I don't want to chug it though. But...
Yeah. I mean, maybe, dude, it is a tasty beverage.
Anyway.
Anyhow.
It was fun.
So, I really do feel that it's just, again, a mathematical representation of that prime number. I want to know how, like, what can we do to, same like we were talking last time about how we can harness groupthink. It's like we understand our chemistry, our biology, how we function. How can we...
How do you harness groupthink, like, for good?
Well, but same as, but utilizing the ideas of 3, 6, and 9 and all that by, like, setting
examples. That pushes
examples.
limits of defining your definition of good, but...
That depends on what your definition is.
Yeah.
But still. For real.
If we could use that for the greater good, for real. Like,
of course.
For good. Not the greater good.
Well, but to me, setting an example is groupthink, because if you have enough people that are all doing it, even if it's the right thing or the wrong thing, others will just be like, well, dude, if everybody else is doing it, then I want to do it too. So that's my, if we get enough of us that really just believe and we start to group together, all of a sudden just us on a whole in numbers will start to grow. Most likely exponential.
Yeah, I think groupthink is a dangerous monster to try and grapple with in any way, shape, or form, because that kind of, well, historically speaking, that tends to get out of control really fast. It's amazing to watch, but you can basically watch us demoralize from a society of like fairly intelligent people that know how to live in a community together, to people that are basically smashing shit and trying to beat each other up in the street and steal each other's, money, alcohol, women, whatever they can get their hands on.
Big screen TVs.
Right.
Stretch limos.
Just being crazy.
Escalades on dub doses.
Like, that's not, that's going backwards. That's devolving. As far as I'm concerned. But anyway.
Yeah, that was a nice tangent.
We are, well...
that was very specific.
Where are we going? Is this all going to be, is this going to be journal? Is this going to be,
Well, I told you earlier I was going to let you take this one out.
Sacred geometry?
I don't know. What do you want to do? Because you're the...
I mean, because we touched on that before with the whole... I think the 432 kind of goes into that.
Well, but that's the 369.
That's the 369, yeah.
Well, yeah, because there was also... I think there was also 417. right? 432, 528. There's a few that. So, and that's so. If that's a thing,
But
like
365 is one, right?
365 would not be one.
Wait, wasn't 345?
Because that's an 8. 345 is.
Where was that?
Because any three consecutive. Well, actually, 3 and 4 is 7 and 5, 12, and that's 3. So 1 and 2 is 3. Yeah, that's being a derivative of 369. So now that's the thing, right? If you could use the idea of 369 with frequencies, and I think there's something where I watched, they're talking about how you can use frequencies, but like ultra high frequencies, things that we can't hear. So like super resonating frequencies, like 100,000 hertz or something, like something ridiculous. The combination of binaural, basically, where you get like you get a left is doing this and a right is doing that. So you break a stereo into 2 separate channels, and each one is doing a different frequency. When you get it correct, the right separation of that channel to the other channel, they can start to rupture like specific cells in your body, like leukemia or different cancers and stuff.
Oh, into that, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be pretty darn cool, yeah.
Well, but if that's a real thing.
So I was saying last time we were talking about frequencies and stuff, they have these like tuning forks that you can basically you hit them with a special, like you have a special mallet that you hit them with, and then you take the back end of it and you place it on like the area of your body that's affected, like, or whether it's joint pain or on the top of your head. Like there's,
I feel like I've seen something about this.
Yeah, and it's supposedly, I mean, I don't know, I haven't tried it. I've always been curious. Maybe that's something, maybe I'll have to buy one and try it out on the show.
Well, I think, as I'm recalling, the frequency difference, I think, is supposed to be like 3 times. So like it's supposed to be, I think, if I recall or something, it's supposed to be like 3 times, like, so the left or the right's supposed to be 3 times different. So if the one is at like 100,000.
Oh, you mean if like you're trying to...
Well, to blast like leukemia or something, it's like the one side is at 100,000 and the other side is like 300,000.
Well, that's the whole binaural
Correct.
concept. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying. So there has to be a separation, because it's kind of like that thing where the frozen water droplets, where when you yell at it, I want to murder you, it's crazy chaos and it's like death, basically. Whoa. Right? The same thing happens to those cells, they're saying, as they cause them to vibrate at those 2 different resonating factors. It causes each one exponentially after to just die, like they just explode, like for real.
Is it those 2 separate frequencies, or is it the body's natural harmonic ability to pick up the frequency difference between the 2?
Right.
Which is what naturally occurs between the left and the right hemispheres.
It's like walking through the metal detector to get into the club. All of a sudden, it's just like, whoa, buddy. No, you got something on you. Right, baby?
Something's
I like
just
that.
off, okay?
Yeah, they can pick it up. I like that. That's pretty cool. Well, but, so I don't think that there's an absolute understanding. It just seems to be a discovery of, like, they're starting to get some supporting data, from what I'm to understand, that they're seeing a difference. They're trying different sets, but I think the thing that was common was that they have to be like 3 times the separation or something, or a third of it, or I forget. I think there was a math of 3 in there somewhere, if I recall. That's why I was just like, wait a minute, that seems weird.
Yeah, it brings up that whole synesthesia again, that whole concept.
Well, but this goes to my point of, if it's a derivative of 369 or whatever, like, okay, cool, that's great math, but what can we do with it? Well, if this is one of those kind of things, it's like, all right, now I'm starting to see some examples. Like, what else can we now do with it then? So what resonating with 369 frequencies, vibrations, energies, like that Tesla stuff.
The point being that the Fibonacci sequence, when mathematically equated out from a 0 point outward, basically creates the spiral of creativity. It creates a spiral that is the essence of everything in existence, like everything from the Milky Way to you know, a
Yeah.
cellular structure.
Yeah, galaxy, a snail. What do you call what do you even call those? The shell, this little snail shells, like
The Nautilus.
Yeah, but so it's got like that inward, dial. It just kind of swirls into itself. I mean, you see it on like seashell, like all shells, basically, really.
And that is repeated throughout nature.
Which I think also you see
everywhere.
Goes to fractals.
Yeah.
Yeah, fractals.
I mean, the whole universe can be viewed that way, really, because everything. Oh, shoot! We did it again. Look at that. Look at that. All right. Anyhow.
One replaces the other. It's all good.
But yeah, if you could look at it, yeah, like the fractals within. I can't even wrap my head around that one. That's. Anyway, where are we going this episode? We are.
We've been circling around on 369 and combinations thereof, and
yeah, but I mean,
well, but what is it? What isn't it? Like that's why I'm bringing up
what's the connection? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well,
like
I gave the example of possibly how we can not so much cure cancer, but like you said, like I think that's an interesting way to think of it. Maybe it's not the fact that they're resonating factors. Now it's the fact that with that alternating, binaural component, the body can just go, wait a minute, you're not one of us.
The intermediate frequency, the one that lies in between.
Yeah, like disrupts the signal that's been blocking the whole time, where the body can't see that that's not one of its cells, and it doesn't like attack itself. And all of a sudden, it's just like, oh, wait, you're not one of us. It's like, oh, here, you can have this molecule, ha, 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 and it just destroys it now.
Doesn't that kind of lend more credence to the whole conversation we were having about 432 being A for the musical instrument, and why maybe that would be more harmonically natural for a human being to experience, and maybe make you more open-minded when you listen to it, versus 440? Same argument that the difference in frequency can make a world of difference. It can make the difference between, you can't pass a kidney stone to now we can just shake it out of you because we found the right frequency. You know what I mean? That
kidney
means
stones,
everything.
Yeah, like they've been doing ultrasonic, like surgery. Well, not so much surgery, but ultrasonic to break down the kidney stones inside you. So now it's not like this massive thing. Now it's breaks into like so. The idea of sound waves or frequencies,
right,
emitting energy at a specific rate.
Well, that basically you're tuning in on the frequency of that mass that's in there to the point where it's resonating with the frequency that you're putting out, and it literally just shakes apart.
Yeah, I do. I just got the idea of going across the bridge and driving your car at the right speed, and you get the bridge to get that wah 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 wah, and you just feel like the car is just like wah 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 wah, and just like flip.
You're in mid conversation with the guy next to you, and you're just like, I can't.
You can't hear.
The music's all weird. You're like,
dude, you just get this boom, 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 boom in the background. You're just like, what is that? Dude, the car is
audio bubble. Like
you feel like you're hopping up and down like 6 feet, but it's only. Dude, but yeah, your car's it's oscillating. Yeah,
that was always the weirdest hitting those bridges, too. It's like the metal grate, and like you can feel the tires just kind of do this, like just mash
like scoot
behind,
back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta remember they can't.
Yeah, they
see
can't
us.
see this, but you can.
Yeah,
but
he's wiggling his bottom like a dog with no tail, in a very jazzy, nonchalant, old school man way. He's sashaying his butt over there, and he's like, look, like this. Yeah, they can't see that. That's
Remember, I can remove myself at any time.
Parlay, and then I'm gonna be here by myself. We can't do that until there's a third party. I don't think the manifesto. I think that we need to have like third party manifesto
you're at
component.
Least two.
Oh, I don't know if that was a compliment or not.
I know I am.
I thought we got the green room sillies out. What happened there?
I know I am. No, you don't.
Oh, he's come off the rockers. Literally flying off the road. Dude, you give a man a little booze, and look what happens. This is where we get into it. So now let me ask you a question.
So this if we were going to title it would be 369. Is that 369?
Well, but I want to know what else we can do with it, because so they did the pyramids with it. All right. If you don't, you at home, if you don't know about this, you should do. You can do a little math. I think there's what was his name? The thing I sent you earlier, the Carlson guy, Randall, Carlson, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he has a very. He basically takes all of his knowledge that he's aware of dealing with pyramids and 369 and combinations of that within the idea of like geometric shapes and I mean just tons of different mathematical components. He takes all of this knowledge and kind of truncates it into like a 2-ish hour seminar and then just dispenses it. You can find this. He goes into really great detail of the different things that relate to just the pyramids and their design. I mean, their specific shape, where they're laid to, all of these things relate back to the ideas of like 3, 6, and 9. All of their math, every inch of it, like so many. It's ridiculous to the degree.
Theta, right? Wasn't there something about that?
Well, theta is the brainwave of hypnosis. That's like your program.
There was something about that, and maybe we can touch back on that later.
Well, he was
when I'm in my looking shit up
with him on that special.
No, I haven't seen that special, but not the end. You talking about the same special we were watching earlier?
Well, no, the one. Which one? What are you talking about? Where did theta come from?
No, I was just thinking about that.
Okay.
With the specifically the Giza complex and all that.
That's not the one on
pyramids. But anyway, go on.
yeah, that's another conversation. But no, so
we are drinking, so
no one was looking to. Yeah, the thing that a lot of the math supports with these kind of things, these massive structures, goes to Tesla because he too utilized the same, I think longitude or whatever. The same longitude where it was the power laid within, and he's using the math of the 369. The pyramids are doing the same thing. There's 3 main pyramids, and behind them was like another 3 that are all aligning with the 3 stars on Orion, and I mean it's.
And we were saying this before, like he sought out what you were saying. You described it to me, and I was like, "Oh, you're talking about like a Lexus, a ley line nexus." Basically, like a coming together of.
Well, and that's the thing is, I don't recall if that was also another component. That may have been a secondary piece which made the spots like, Giza or where Tesla did his tower. Like, I don't know if those were like crossings of that right longitude and a ley line, which caused it to be a part to basically take that free energy out of the air.
And just for those who might not know, a ley line it's basically one of the magnetic.
It's an energy pulse line of the
that
Earth.
Comes off the.
It's almost like one of the veins of Earth where the energy runs. Like there's like water veins that are supposed to run with it. Like it's just these. It's almost like the veins of Earth, really. But it's like energy and everything is in them, and they're all interconnected.
It runs along that torus structure that we say, that kind of that creative force, which is like 2 inverted toruses.
Yin and yang. I don't.
Well, that's a really weird thing to explain.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Like this, why you get the shape of an apple. Like the reason why you get that is because
that rollover.
Yeah,
it's almost like 2 curlers sitting next to each other, rolling away from one another.
Well, yeah, when if anybody looks up it's not Taurus like Taurus the bull, but Tour. Wait,
fact checker.
Tours. Tor. I don't know. Whatever.
Taurus.
It's a mathematical shape that basically folds in on itself. It's like I guess if you were to imagine it as like a 3-dimensional Mobius strip, and it basically creates like a donut shape where you can see where everything folds in on itself and then comes back out the other side. and it creates that donut shape. So if you imagine two vortices like that on either side of the Earth, that's your magnetic.
Yeah, you're talking about the ring that goes around the atom bomb explosion. So when you get the mushroom cloud that comes up, you get that ring. Excuse me. Yeah, you're talking about that ring. Yeah, that's it. You take that ring idea. That's the energy that would go around, the Tesla's tower. That was the way it was projected.
It's creating that same. What you're talking about is that convection.
Correct.
Current, where it's pulling it up through, and it's as it's passing around, and it's cooling. It's going back down that same channel because it's already been. It's kind of there's a pattern there. It almost creates a vortex of its own. Well, it creates a donut-shaped cloud after the mushroom cloud is gone.
Yeah, well, that's I think that's what it's projected with the idea that there's like water that runs with it. And to me, it's I keep saying it's almost like the veins of the earth because they're what's the mycelia are almost from the mycelium, right? Well, but
mycelium,
yeah, it's those interconnected webs or tangles or tendons or that are all the tendons of the earth, that, holding it together.
Now we're talking string theory too. I mean, you can pull it out to that as well. I mean, it's all connected.
Oh, I got like a frog in my throat. I need more libations, I believe.
And that's the cool thing when you think about the way that Walter Russell looked at things. Would you imagine everything that you know that exists is really nothing more than a vibration of light? That's it.
Well, right, and that's Tesla says, vibrations.
He's not
frequencies.
the only one that says that.
Correct.
I mean,
Einstein said it.
and that by default we are creatures of light. We are.
Well, but I think E equals MC squared is basically the idea of like that energy ring that we're talking about, but what would be the donut hole of that donut would be the E equals MC squared, where there's a point of energy that grows exponentially from that and outward into that mean, like, illumination, almost like you turn on a light bulb and it just lights up in all, 360 degrees every single way. So it's
what's if you want to get deep, what's represented at the center is actually the seed and a sea of possibility. At the dead center of that vortice is what you're looking at, because it's kind of like when you have a north and south pole, like they can't be together. They have to have a separateness to them to exist, but they're always drawn to each other, but they can't get past a certain point. There's like a holding back.
Well, I think that was the point of
and it's that is the stillness too, right there.
Well, the spot which is the line or the longitude that you have to be on, or I guess latitude. I'm horrible. A fact checker. So
I'm terrible with all that. Yeah.
The placement is halfway between the equator and the North Pole. It's the literal halfway point, so that you get that middle that causes that curl over roll, that rolling effect to make that energy ring on that spot, so that it all rolls in and out from itself. So from the center to the out, and like keeps rolling. To make that energy ring, you have to be halfway through, because it causes, like you're saying, where it pulls them together enough that they stick, but they can't actually get together. And it's almost like that friction between the two causes, static. And it's just that free energy of that static now that it's like, there it is. Let's just take some of that. Thank you. It just makes
to be able to tap into it.
Yeah, it just makes it available
absolutely.
now.
Because it's all there. I mean,
But that was Tesla's idea. Like that's how his tower was supposed to work.
He worked out a mathematical equation to try and figure out, or to at least get you in the basic ballpark of what kind of energy output we're talking about, broken down to like 1 square inch. And it was amazing. It was like enough to run like a city like New York City for like a week, off the power that you could drain off of literally a 1 square inch section of, I don't know, what would you say, dark matter, or...
Well, I don't know. I'm not that smart, bro.
Neither am I. It's just stuff I hear.
I'm just here to look good. That's it.
Fascinating.
That's all I got. And I don't even do that well. That's why I have the beard.
You really
It hides
do.
a lot.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm aware. I'm working on
Cut
it.
that off. You got like no chin. You're fugly. I mean,
Dude, tell me something I don't know. But that's so that was one of the speculations with the pyramids, is that being the same as like Tesla's tower idea, being halfway between the equator and the North Pole, being on possibly, like you're saying, one of those ley lines.
like a nexus point.
Yeah, you can now create this energy source, or at least, have it available so that you can pull from it. From there, you can actually make use of it in a magnetic or anti-gravitational component where you actually can distort the weight of things in a sense. So things that are of heavy mass now are not of heavy weight. And you can take those massive blocks and you basically almost like float them. Like that's an idea.
Oh God, using the power of frequency. I've heard all kinds of stories
Yeah,
about
you
how
get,
maybe
like,
the Egyptians,
the wireless light bulbs and stuff, and
how the Egyptians actually created all these monolithic structures was they were able to harness the power of frequency, like harmonics, basically, where you find a tuning fork or some such that resonates at the frequency of, or close to the frequency of, the stone that you're trying to move.
you don't want it to actually like separate it. You don't want it to break.
Or maybe if you have that same frequency, you could also use it to cut said stone.
Right.
Like, I mean,
Well, but so if you have
weird, wacky stuff.
But if
Just
you have
weird.
if you have this static, electricity in the air that you can use to light these wireless light bulbs, charge these batteries that are built within these.
Oh, I've seen that on the old,
Right, but
the
so
Egyptian.
all of these things put together, then why couldn't they be able to do something like that where they can make a super vibrating machine or
This light bulb, if nobody's seen this, there's like 4 other Egyptians holding it up. Is how big it is. It's like this giant. Wasn't it like a 10-foot light bulb that's depicted? But that supposedly they maybe had a way to. Now I've heard all these theories though that the actual complex itself may have been flooded by the river at one point, and been
the lower chambers
actually
were drowned out
designed as a way to harness the waters using certain kinds of metals to create a battery, and that certain harmonics were repeated inside these structures that basically purified and moved water through basically was a lifeblood for their city. Now that's a theory, but
because there's a bunch of different tunnels and shafts and things that are also built within them,
and like why the angles and the way they come out and why they face certain constellations and all kinds of weird.
So you get all these different ideas or hypotheses that are like this, that, and the other about, this one does this and that one which if their math was built off the 369 and they had a mass understanding of it where they could harness these things, and like you're saying, they can cut these precise stones because they're aware of frequency and they're using this static electricity to help generate an even, almost like a what do you want to call it, like a super water jet nozzle, but with frequency. So instead of it being like a precise water stream at thousands of psi, it's the correct frequency that's even more precise because you can fine tune it and point it to the exact spot,
or maybe at the same time you're also using those musical harmonics to to make an impression on that section of the stone already, so that when you hit it with the water, whatever. They found all kinds of ways to use metals that weren't even hard enough to cut that stone, but because they used them with the sand that was in the area, that they basically created a special, like a high-speed blade that would use sand as a way to cut through the stone. And
there's
all kinds of neat things, but
and that to
what
me
we're talking about is almost like Harry Potter, kind of like magical though, like being able to harness certain frequencies and lift stone. Now I have to look this up. I'll do this next time, I swear. But somewhere there was this guy that created all these like really large structures, and I forget where it was, but he he put all this stuff together, but he always did it in the dark of night, when nobody was looking, and supposedly he claimed that he did the entire thing completely by himself. He had no manpower, no help, no machinery, none of that. That he all did with simple machines and with his own.
Yeah, that was on an episode of That's Incredible.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, I heard of it somewhere else, but I have to look back into that because it was really weird.
Yeah, I'm dating myself again. That's incredible. That's incredible. Yeah.
But one of the claims that I had heard when I heard that story was that he had somehow harnessed certain frequencies and was able to use, whether it was like a special tuning fork or some kind of divining rod or something like that, to hold a certain frequency and focus it, that he could lift these stones that were like 10, 50, 500 tons. Like, there's no way you could lift that by yourself without some kind of, forklift wouldn't even do it.
Yeah.
I don't know, it makes you wonder. Who knows?
Well, but if that's the thing, if the math comes back up off it to be like the 369 is the core to it, then now we're talking about examples.
Well, I mean, that was what he said though, right? He said the power of 369 and
Tesla.
Okay. He
Okay.
said 369, and he said those who understand,
Those who think
frequency and vibration,
energy,
those who think in the terms of
frequency
and
energy, and
vibration.
vibrations.
That's what it was. Yes.
Yeah, we'll start to understand the powers of the universe.
Like that's basically the rules that the universe is built upon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're all just a bunch of molecules vibrating at the right
Just wish I was smart enough to
frequencies.
know what that really means.
Again, if we're in a construct that this is a video game and we come in here and our memory gets wiped, we probably do know. We just don't know we know. And that's why we only get like 10% of our brain. That's how they do it. They're like, well, we don't wipe your brain. We just don't give you all of it.
Like, I'm just going to take another sip.
You need some brain juice?
I can't process that, so I'm just going to take another sip.
That's too deep for me. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. So, you have a book that you're working on.
Why do you keep deflecting?
No, I want to go into this.
Oh.
You have a book that you're working on called Leaders Eat Last.
Yes.
And you said you're about 80 pages into it.
Correct.
So, if I was to just put you on the spot right now and say, what is the absolute one thing that sticks with you at this point in the book that's your total takeaway? Like, total value, one thought that came out of that 80 pages so far.
Empathy, trust, take care of your fellow man before you take care of yourself.
And you live by that credo?
I've been attempting to do my very best at that. I am human. I have my programming. I have the things I have the things that are built into me that I'm working around. The more I can understand about me and myself as a construct, the more my consciousness can be free. The easier it is to get things done. The more I can actually show true love, true acceptance to myself in all things.
Well, the less you fight the reality of your situation.
There is no spoon.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You stop fighting and you'll realize
I
all the things I was worried about.
Fighting without fighting.
Right? All the things I was worried about, or all the things I thought were going to come crashing down, it was never anything to worry about.
One often meets their destiny on the road they take to avoid it.
That's it.
Yeah, I promise.
That took how long?
Dude, I
sent that back to you, didn't I?
Re-listening.
You're like, yes!
To me butchering it, because I did it in several episodes.
It was fun. No, I mean, but that's the fun of the show, dude. Don't worry about it.
Well, yeah, but so me re-listening to it and hearing it, the train wreck that it was again and again. By the third time, I'm just like, I'm in my brain. I will remember this. I will remember this for life. I will forget everything else. I will remember this and probably like my social security number and my driver's license number for some reason. Like my PIN from my bank card when I was like 18 or something. Like that's the only stuff I'll ever remember. I don't know.
My house number from the house I grew up in.
Yeah, like those. Yeah, why? Why?
Actually, the number of my English teacher, which I never actually used, but I memorized because he stood up on his desk and repeated it to the entire class.
I was gonna say, like, what, the phone number? Like, were you calling your teacher and just like messing?
No, he literally stood up on his desk and said out his number, and like at the end of it, actually did this for his last digits. So
His phone number or his house number?
like his house number. Yeah,
Okay.
he was an interesting teacher.
Sounds like it. I don't know if this is the place for us to have this conversation. Or
Oh,
not.
it may not be. I don't know.
Well, I'm.
I mean, because he is now no longer with us, so it would be in poor taste to speak ill of him at any point.
I was asking more for your own
But yeah,
personal and emotional safety.
me?
If there was things that you needed to discuss further with me, is there something you want to share?
About my experience with him as a teacher? No, he was all right.
I jest.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, there was a bit of an issue with him, but it wasn't really.
I'm implying that he's like your special uncle that touched you that one time.
No, I get what you're implying there.
But it got you a good grade, so it's okay. You're okay with it now.
There's a multitude of levels, yeah, of that whole. But no, none of that.
Well, I'm making sure because it felt as though that tone was drifting there, and I didn't know if you wanted a hug or if I should.
No, this was not that. As far as I know, this was not that kind of teacher.
I'm jesting, everybody. No, I'm just.
No, this was the teacher that. Apparently, he was doing some stuff he shouldn't have been doing, not necessarily legal, like off hours. But anyway.
See, now I'm going back to this. I feel like you need a hug now. Like, is there something that you want to?
No, this has nothing to do with me.
do we need to like have like regressive memory therapy or something where we can pull stuff out for you?
I feel like there's a safe word I should say.
Oklahoma. I'm sorry. Wait.
Helicopter.
I don't know what you mean when you talk about.
I don't know.
What? That was very specific and quick. I'm sorry.
Wait, what just happened?
Programming.
Wait, what was that Will Ferrell thing?
I know what happened. I blacked out for a second.
I blacked out.
Yeah, to me that reminds me of the Butterfly Effect. All right, I love that movie.
Oh, dude, I haven't seen that. Dude, I think I was with you the last time I saw that.
Probably. We do a lot of stuff together. We're
That
like
was,
really good.
yeah. Well, when that came out, or soon after that came out.
That I would have to think about further to attest.
Oh,
to.
I swear we watched that together. That was one of those weird, like.
I'm sure we've seen parts, or if not all of it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Butterfly Effect was one of those ones you're like, that kind of leaves you like feeling a little shell shocked. Like
because it's possible. Well, think about it. It's a DMT trip to an alternate to a parallel universe. String theory style, right? There's all these alternate universes, parallel universes, all these things that are the same as or slightly different, or you can DMT trip your consciousness from each.
But he gets
each body to each body.
He gets lost. Like he gets totally lost in that whole thing.
But by the end, he finds himself internally, and he's just happy with where he's at.
Yeah, but I mean that's.
But that
was a brutal. Yeah,
that's the metaphor. Be happy with what you have because it can always be worse.
Isn't that funny? Like how many times it'll bring you all the way back to the beginning again. You're like,
isn't that the point of I'm telling you?
Is it?
Yeah, bringing it back around again.
Bring
it's the
it
echo.
Back, like
I'm telling you. So it's the same as the butterfly effect. You just gotta let.
Oh,
it go.
the echo. Yeah, bringing it back. Yeah. Should I say it again? Yeah. No, I agree with that. Absolutely. That is what we're trying to. If we're pushers of anything, right?
I'm your pusher, man.
I'm bringing it back around. Just.
Yeah, with the echo. I'm telling you.
Echo, reach around, whatever.
It's a special episode. I'm just saying.
Number 9.
Whatever you're into.
Anyhow.
The fact you had to think about that kind of excites me. I'm gonna be honest. So I think, and that's why my example of the 369, and I'm attempting. This is almost like an experiment for myself. I'm attempting to align myself with the idea of 3, 6, and 9. Like when I set the volume on the TV, if I'm actually listening to it, it's a derivative of 3. The volume's like on 12 or
Your
15.
focus seems to be more on 3 than anything, because 3 kind of completes all the others. Like it's all about 3. It's 3 twice, or 3 times, or 3.
Well, but 3 times would be 3 plus 3 plus 3, which is 9. But
which is also 3. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you add them up, it's 3, and then 2 of them together
the
is 6, and then 3 of them together is 9, which makes it 3, 6, 9. So there's that mathematical relationship. But yeah, the 3
it's
is
cubed, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you need a minimum of 3 dimensions to give something actual shape.
Correct. Yeah.
In a physical form where it has dimension, as they call it, right? That's what they always say. It has dimension. Yeah, it has the 3rd dimension, which gives it depth. Yeah, in order for you to have depth, in order for something to be locked down and tactile, it needs 3.
Yeah, X, Y, Z, and then you haven't defined space around you, but that's another thing.
Yeah, well, that's the 4th dimension, time, right? There you go.
Well, yeah.
Keep on adding them up. Yeah, what's the 5th one? Is that where the light train idea comes in, and light no longer exists?
But you totally can't comprehend that.
I think our current intellectual level and our understanding within that constraint limits our ability to understand complex ideas.
Like if you can only experience life in 2 dimensions, you have no idea what the 3rd dimension is like. Like it's there, but you have no idea. You exist along this, Well,
but
you can't go out here. Like that doesn't exist. Like you don't even see it there.
So think about this. If you're two-dimensional, like you're a drawing on a piece of paper, you wouldn't even be able to see anything else. It would just look like a line. You would be a line. Because while we see it on a 2-dimensional where it's width and height, or length and height, you have no width. So you as that entity looking forward at the next piece would just be a straight line. Because there'd be no depth to it, so there'd be no dimension.
Either that, or you'd kind of be breaching both worlds. Like there's nothing on this side, and over here there's like a whole world that I can't even comprehend because there's too much information coming at me. I'm used to this.
A flat
wall. I see stuff going on over here, but I can't even comprehend it because I'm like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm 2-dimensional. Like, I see this.
You're just looking forward. You have to express what that is.
Yeah. Well, no, but I'm just saying. I see. I'm looking straight ahead of me. Like, that's all I see. I see what's directly ahead of me. Well, I'm 2-dimensional, right?
And in that point, to me, it's the idea of the light train, where you're going faster than the speed of light. Therefore, or even if you're going at the same speed as it is, you're never going to see it, because just as it's there, you've already been there and it's gone with you too. So we
can argue all day and night on whether it exists or not. It's like, well, yeah, it exists, just not yet.
Well, it does exist. We just can't. We're just not.
It exists in a reality that's literally, it hasn't happened yet.
Well, we're ahead of that. We would not be perceiving it on a visual level.
This is now.
Kind of. But that's the thing, though. So from a sensory perception, we would not be witnessing it from a visual perspective. We would be aware of it on a conscious level. We know the light is there. We are aware that it's illuminating. But with the perception of time involved...
If we're moving just as fast, if not faster than it...
Yeah, well, so that's the thing.
There would be no comprehension of any light at all.
There'd be no perception of it visually. Because it wouldn't be doing anything. It wouldn't be illuminating. Because it wouldn't be doing its job, because it's going just as fast as you. So just as it's lighting itself up, you're already there and gone.
Right.
So you're at the same speed as it. So it's almost like if you could look behind you, it's like there's the sunset or the sunrise, and then in front of you is, like pitch black night.
It's just a wild concept to think about, isn't it?
Well, but what if that's that thing, though?
Is it Revenge of the Nerds?
What if C-A, what if dog was really spelled C-A-T? Wow.
You were thinking it. I know you were.
Yeah, that's really far out there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no.
That's crazy. That's crazy talk, man. But no, honestly, that's the way to try to comprehend. Like, if I live on a piece of paper, and somebody puts a book on top of me, it doesn't affect my world at all. You know what I'm saying? Because I live within that 2 dimensions. So it's there, but it doesn't. I have no comprehension of it.
Well,
so it's the same thing if you were to say, what happened if you add a 5th dimension? Well, if you weren't from the 5th dimension, you might not even notice that it exists. It's right there. It exists right alongside you, and that's the whole idea of how the multiverse works, I believe, is that it's all interconnected.
Well, yeah, because as you
they're all so close to each other that they basically link up with each other.
As you stack out all the extra dimensions or the strings or all that.
Like some people say, what you do is you actually pull possibilities from other touching dimensions, and you pull them towards you into your reality.
Well, that can be a piece of like the law of attraction, where you have like the sine wave that you would go up as you transcend, but as you're doing it, you could also be shifting left or right, or
Well, that when you make certain decisions, and you choose not to take it personal, and you choose to make a proper judgment in a given situation, and there's a payoff, and that payoff is, things seem to line up unexpectedly for no reason.
When you're in that flow.
Yeah.
You get out of your own
flow.
way.
I'm thinking about flow.
Well, but when you get out of your own way, so it's not even just you expressing yourself, like, right now on the microphone, but in life, period. All the decisions and choices you make, things just seem to flow together where you just are a part of you being the best you.
Well, yeah, you have that. You have moments, whole days, maybe, hopefully, if you're lucky, where everything
that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, right? Where everything just seems to be going your way, and I'm not going to say that really describes me right now, but...
All the stars align.
Yeah.
Moses parts the sea. All the forest animals come out to high-five you.
You're singing a song with them, man. It's like an old Disney cartoon.
I just got the today's the day the teddy bear goes to the picnic. Right. Isn't that what it is, right? Because today's the day the teddy bears had their picnic. Yeah, man.
What movie was that?
You don't remember that? Oh,
what movie? No, what movie was that?
That's not a movie.
No, but they use that song in a...
I don't know. There's probably several. In the comments, put it below. Thanks, appreciate you. Fact checker. But yeah, no, that's
anyhow. So what I wanted to get back to was
hilarious.
Philly D has brought some personal notebooks with him, and what I wanted to ask was there something in particular on your mind when you brought them, or was there just in general you thought like, hey, let me just, hey, I got some swag too, let me just...
Yeah, pretty much. nerd bragging rights. I got books too, bro.
Okay, was there something you wanted to share, or...
I brought them just as you bring yours, where it's not so much that you want to or have to, but if the opportunity arises.
Okay. I was just curious if that's what I was saying. If there was something that coincides with what we're talking about, or maybe would be a good addition to, or.
Well, just as you asked me the question of what was my takeaway from the book so far, that it added to the conversation. So it's a prop, basically. To put a fine point on it,
it's already served its purpose just by the fact.
Well, the one has, yeah, certainly.
Well, no, but those two are just propping up the book we've already spoken about. I want to talk about those books.
Oh, that was punny.
So
the props are propping up their own. Oh yeah, there it is.
They're propping up the prop book.
The prop is propping up the prop. Look at that.
What's that's propping that up, though? I'm saying because you got two different books. You said one's like.
One's a personal book and one's a personal journal. So one's like a personal log, where I put like random thoughts.
Like Captain's log?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Well, so I mean, sometimes it's random thoughts
like
for the
this
day.
happened today, and then
Kind of.
Okay.
I had a quick idea, or like, oh, that's a really good way of saying it. I'm gonna write that down. All of a sudden, I have like a new idiom that I'm just like, I'm gonna use that again. Yeah, I'm gonna be dope with you. Stuff like that. I mean, I haven't written that down, but. But yeah, perfect example.
Nobody necessarily ever has to read, kind of thing. Like this is just
no, perfect example. One of the things that I wrote down, I quoted myself. I wrote it down, put it in quotation marks, and then wrote my name under it. Just because it's true today doesn't mean it's true tomorrow.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah, but sometimes when you have thoughts like that, it's like you should write that down. So I write that down.
Well, just because the person you were yesterday maybe wasn't the best person, that doesn't mean that's the person you are today. So that's another way to look at it, right? I mean,
just because I'm alive today doesn't mean I'm going to be alive tomorrow. Just because today I have a job doesn't mean tomorrow I will. Today, just because I can breathe oxygen as well as I do doesn't mean tomorrow it will. Just because today I sleep well doesn't mean tomorrow I will.
But that's just a reason to be thankful, right? I mean, that's where you're going.
But it's also because you can be the other way. It's like, just because I'm not sleeping well today doesn't mean I can't sleep well tomorrow. So just because it's true today doesn't mean it's true tomorrow.
It's true. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, but tomorrow I can be wrong as well. That's one of those great statements that I think.
Yeah, but if you're not sleeping right, that's like one of the big 3 or 4 things. If you're not eating right, you're not sleeping right, or I don't know, there's got to be a third thing that I'm missing there somewhere. But
you're probably not loving right.
Well, whatever it is, something's going to be off.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a description of the logbook?
So yeah, that's my personal book. That's almost like a planner too. I'll put different meetings that I've had, like personal, not strictly business. So, at times if I have conversations with people and it's like lengthy, I'll be in the middle of it. I'll have my, my journal nearby, and I'll write down in it so that it keeps me engaged and focused in the conversation. And so that later on, if I have a thought about it, I can go back and check it and then go back to the person and just be like, hey, I was thinking about this.
No,
it's
in a way, yeah.
It's in a place where it's like, hey,
you had said X, and I looked into it, and you're totally right, or whatever. Yeah, something you can come back to.
It's just a way to, just as we do, continue the conversation.
It's an anchor in reality, or a buoy. It's something that you can mark to say, okay.
It keeps me grounded and connected to my friends and my family. It is active listening. It is active acceptance and understanding and engagement on a community level. I'm attempting to walk the walk. I am continuing to shrink my focuses. I attempt to corral myself. And while this sounds very stringent and rigid and strict, it's because what I'm attempting to do is almost like salmon wanting to swim upstream, koi fish turning to a dragon. I'm just trying to find the right channel to swim.
It's not to say that you're always 100% this serious about shit. It's just that this is your driving force. This is kind of what's motivating you behind the scenes.
I'm attempting to align myself to be in my karmic flow so that I can get out of my own damn way and just sit back and let cruise control happen. I can be like, look at that over there. Look at that over there. This is a marvelous time. I've enjoyed everything that is going on.
This is totally where I parked my car.
Yeah, no matter how hard it is, because I have all these responsibilities as I attempt to keep stepping up and do different things. Because again, as you transcend, it doesn't get easier, you get more stuff. But if you can get in your own flow and get out of your way and fulfill your purpose, it doesn't feel that way. So you can actually kind of sit back and autopilot and just let your body walk through everything that you're doing so that you can truly be conscious of every moment and enjoy it for what it is. Even if it's a horrible moment, you can still find peace with it.
Well, and in retrospect, maybe learn a lesson from it. Or
But that would be finding the peace with it.
well, there's all different ways you could find peace with it, I guess is what I'm saying.
No, that is. If you have peace with something...
Well, now you've created a balance, yeah.
That's how you have to have that peace. You have to understand it. You have to draw from it. You have to say there's a reason for this and accept it. That's peace.
Well, and putting your attention on it, sometimes it's all it requires too. Yeah, absolutely. Right? In order to deal with something that you put your attention on it, you let yourself go through whatever it is you have to go through, and then you can move on. But it's not until you can align yourself with that equalizing force, that balancing force of, okay, I have to have this emotional experience now to kind of deal with what it is that I've now, opened myself up to, or that maybe has already hurt me and I haven't dealt with, I haven't processed, I haven't whatever.
Yeah, that's definitely...
And that's the first book. And you have another one. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, no, that one is just random thoughts that I put into it.
Oh, okay. All right.
The personal journal is way deeper.
Okay. All right.
It's a chronological... what's the word? It's a chronological itemizing of things or moments, components, actions that I've taken. It's a journaling of them. So I'm not going to get specific because it's actually very personal and it's a part of my journey in life, doing what I feel is fulfilling my purpose, because part of that is I'm supposed to be journaling it. So I'm basically writing down things that normally I wouldn't write down, because it's very personal thought to myself, and it's a thing that I've gone through or a moment that I've had or dealt with, or so it's almost a very cathartic book of getting out all of these different moments that I feel need to be expressed.
Maybe like an acknowledgement of the moments of pain or weakness in your struggle to figure it out what it is that...
What I'm to understand is, this is the thing, is I've been guided to do this. This is my belief.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
Yeah, I believe this is a task that I've been given to get me to a place that I'm supposed to be. So, I don't know. And that's an honest answer. I don't know, because it's the culmination of years of me just expressing things that I'm going to derive information from that will allow me to do this task that I've been given. So I'm just kind of along for the ride at this point. Again, I'm trying to get out of my own way so that I can just be in that flow and enjoy the ride. You know what I mean? Like floating down river, white water style, where every now and again it's like super calm and then it's like super crazy, but the whole time it's just a really beautiful way of going. I'm trying to enjoy the ride, man.
Yeah, what I have is the only journal I write in, so I don't have another personal...
Do I even have, like, I have a business.
But there are many things that I will share in that. There are some that I won't, but...
I'm in a place where I've been slowly learning to write stuff down. To just start writing stuff down. I mean, I think you said it earlier when we were talking in the green room, where it was about writing down goals. When you write them down, the dopamine triggers because it's a thing to obtain, and then when you get to it, it really goes off. And if you do it again and again and again, then all of a sudden it turns into like oxytocin, where it's just you're always having this happy joy of being what you are, feeling your karmic flow and being it.
Well, I mean, and it'll sound stupid. I don't know, but all right.
Why does it gotta sound stupid? It might sound off.
It may. Well, whatever. I don't want to prejudge it. Whatever. I'm just putting that out there because it's like it protects me. You know how that works.
Yeah, I'm
but
aware.
It's like when I was thinking about, the next bike I wanted to get, and I kept going back and forth in my mind, and I was like, you know what? I'm never gonna get this bike if I can't at least nail down what it is that I'm looking for. And it was like such a quintessential thing about life. It's like, what is it that I'm looking for? You know, what is it that purchasing this bike is going to help me achieve?
So Simon Sinek would define that as your why.
What motivates you to want to get up in the morning and bust your ass every day, aside from the basic things like sustaining my life and the livelihood of my family, obviously, but you know, what other things motivate you? And it's like sometimes just finding a focus is the most important step you can make.
I think it's like the most. You have to know what it is to go after it.
Right, because then you can't ask the universe what it is that you want if you don't know what it is.
Well, but your body also won't help you unless it knows what it is. You have to tell that too, and then when you
But
do...
it's wild though, like, because you kind of have to go on this, like, and that's what I discovered. Like, I kind of had to go, and it's like, that's why I'm saying it seems silly, but I'm using that to equate, okay? I didn't know what paint scheme, I didn't know what year, model, like, I knew the make. I knew I wanted, you know, the make that I bought, but I didn't know which one. I didn't have it narrowed down completely. When I got to the point where I was like, this is exactly the bike that I want, it was a matter of months before it happened. And I'm just using that as an example because it's like, sometimes it's just like the stupidest thing that you have to overcome. It's the blockage that you put in your own way. Like, in determining what it is that you want out of life. You know, because you can be mad at the world all you want, but if you haven't decided what it is you want out of life, you got no business being mad at anybody but yourself. Tie in. There we go. Tie in.
The echo, bringing it back around.
Right? I'm saying.
No, I'm telling you.
I'm telling you.
I'm saying
I'm just saying, that's
show.
a whole other show. Yeah. Sorry.
Who's on first?
Sorry.
Oh.
Anyone who's been listening and keeping up, that is funny.
So, two of your points. One, yeah, you kind of need to point the finger of blame back at yourself. But yeah, two, you also have to know what it is or what it's not to know what it is.
Well, I mean, not to say that once you discover what it is that you want, that some forces aren't going to step up and get in your way. But it's surprising to discover at times how much it is your own self and the blockages you put. Oh, like, well, I could never have that. Or, you know, I can't meet somebody who really loves and cares about me. Or I'll never be a great father. Like, you can't tell yourself these lies because you start to believe them. It gets a little scary after a while. You know, so yeah, it is kind of good to have a book you write your shit down in. Because, right, when you're trying to walk this balancing act that's called life and trying to make sure that you can hold up everybody else that you care about in your life, you know, how do you maintain that balance? How do you know, for me, this is it. This is right now. Being able to live in the now with you, on the mic, off the mic, whatever. This is what works for me.
I want to say the idea of if you're on your deathbed and you're saying to yourself, I wish I would have done this thing more, whatever that thing is, go do that. My thing is I want to spend more time with my family and friends. I want to spend more time living, not working. I want to spend more time making memories, not making money. I want to be a part of life and make the world a better place. That's my purpose. I'm supposed to be here to make things better. And I'm doing that. Slowly but surely. The tortoise wins the race, man. Slow and steady.
But I mean, right, you can't get right with any of that stuff until you get it right with yourself. And for me, that's what I'm saying, to bring it back around, is that it's stuff like this that helps me. It's stuff like having a journal, like being able to converse with somebody like you that I've known forever, that I trust. You know, all that.
Circle of safety.
We're in the tree of trust.
Tree of trust.
You know, all that helps me to understand and kind of comprehend and just kind of be a little bit more accepting sometimes of yourself. Right? I mean, because that's all, I mean, I can't be a better person for anybody else until I can come correct with myself. Until I can, hey, even if I'm not 100% today, I gave it my all for the situation given. I tried.
Rule number 4 of the 4 agreement, sorry.
And honestly, what is taking that on myself going to do anybody any good?
Yeah, give everything you have. Do your best always. That's rule number 4.
Oh, is that 4?
Yeah, 4 agreements. That's the 4th one. Do your best always.
Do your best always. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Yeah, I don't care what you have to give me today. Just give me 100% of what you have.
Well, and
that's why I always say in any relationship, I don't care if you're giving 20% today or 30% today. If you give me that 20 or 30 that you have, that's 100% of what you have to give right now. Give me your best. Right. Always. In anything you do. That's why I love the 4 agreements, man. But yeah, dude, you have to look into yourself. You have to be willing to accept certain things. You know, not so much take the blame, but at least understand that you have accountability.
Go through them 1, 2, 3, 4.
All 4 of the agreements? Yeah, absolutely. So be impeccable with your word.
That's the one, okay, that I still haven't gotten through yet because that's a tough one.
Well, because to be impeccable with your word means you have to be honest with yourself so that your words or your expressions are impeccable or honest and succinct.
Well, what you're talking about is being the embodiment of truth.
What? Yeah, truth.
As you define it. It doesn't, don't worry about how, what truth means.
Yeah, whatever that word where you're...
such an intangible thing.
But to me, it's not even, it's impeccable. Impeccable is its own word.
You know when you're being impeccable. Nobody else can define that. But
to me, being impeccable is when you are the flow of what you are supposed to be, that karmic purpose, because then you are being internally and externally honest with you and your surroundings. You're being in that flow. You are being impeccable. So your words, your actions, your thoughts, everything that you are and do will be impeccable. Yeah, that's why that's the first rule, because it's the toughest. Because it requires a lot of internal...
Technically, don't you have to have like a spotter? I mean, is there a rule about that? Or, I mean, because you're bound to miss... And
be honest with yourself.
This is the one. No, I understand that, but this is the one thing.
You just told me no.
This is no. Listen. This is the one thing that always comes up, and anytime you're talking about like, like people who are magical and they want
like mediums.
When you, well,
what do you mean by magical?
When you're using magic, and man, I totally lost my train of thought now. Man, I totally lost that, man.
It'll come back around.
Anyway, go on. What were we talking about? Talking about, this happens every time. But no, how long are we? Yeah, that's probably why. It is very late for this.
So we're talking about being impeccable in the 4 agreements and the fact that you have to be honest with yourself. And in order to do that, you have to be like... truly honest with yourself, which means you have to be willing to accept, be accountable for your actions. Not triggering anything yet?
No, but I think
that's the most difficult thing to do.
That is the most difficult thing to do, and I'm just going to leave it at that because I think I want to hear the other 3. So it's be impeccable with your word. So it's be truthful at all times. Outwardly and inwardly.
Well, but so to me, that's the idea of me saying I want to, the one thing I would change in society is education, because there are supporting components to doing that. So in order to be impeccable with your word, you have to be internally honest with yourself.
That's the supporting component. Is what
right.
You're saying.
So by saying you need to be impeccable with your word means that you have to look internally. You have to ask yourself hard questions. So, no, you don't need someone there to judge you on that. I think that's where you were going. Where it's like, do you need a judging component, like a second set of eyes on it?
Oh, and you're saying no.
No, because here's the deal. If you're being truly impeccable, if you're being the actual definition of impeccable, you would be only honesty. You would be only truth.
I think my point there was something about blind spots. And, oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. The superpower is magical, whatever. Whenever it's referenced that you're, there's an ability that you have, like say you have precognitive ability, and this seems to be like a continuing storyline for anybody that writes about this type of stuff,
like ESP kind of thing.
That if you have that precognitive ability, there's anything that involves your person is foggy. It doesn't make sense, or it's completely blocked out. Like anything where it involves personal decision or personal involvement, it doesn't.
So the idea of,
and I think that's a reference to probably Jungian psychology, honestly.
So you're saying on the sense of like you're an empath or somebody who is perceiving others' energies as well, then your own perceptions would be modified, so your own thoughts would not even be your own thoughts? So if you're judging yourself internally, you're not even judging you, you're judging yourself.
Well, no, like if I'm a medium, right, and I'm looking into something about you, and you have never crossed paths with anything having anything to do with me, it wouldn't create a blind spot. But if you had a past with me, right, that maybe I was blocking, maybe I don't recall properly because I've been blocking it for whatever psychological reason I needed to protect myself, that kind of thing. Like, you can't see what's right in front of you. You can't see what affects you, but you can pull the mote out of your neighbor's eye, kind of thing. That.
Okay, and I can understand where you're coming from. My perception of what it is to be impeccable negates that. Because you would have to be so open and honest and aware that you would be able to perceive that dimension of space and time. My assumption, because in order to be impeccable, to be that level of honest flow in its truest state possible, you would be basically pure energy and light at your rawest form in a physical manifestation.
So we still haven't made it past number one.
Well, but that's
so
why
it's
number
that's
one.
A crazy one, but that's 4 agreements, right? So it's be impeccable with your word, and I get the depth of that. There's a lot to that, and we had talked about this, I think, on numerous occasions, and I still have yet to read that book. I have to read that book. The second agreement.
Now, see, I always flip flop 2 and 3, and I can't remember.
I don't know if it matters all that much, but
well, 2 and 3 not really. I mean, as far as they're concerned, the agreements are ordered for specific, a specific reason. So, to that degree, yes, it does matter. However,
1 and 4 are more important.
1 and 4, because 1 is the most important, and
right.
4 kind of sums it all up.
Has like an enveloping,
kind of, yeah. So the second and the third one, I'll just do both of those. The second and the third one is to make no assumptions.
Okay, now some of that's coming back to me now, because you have told me all these before, but I'm...
Yeah, so make no assumptions.
So be completely honest. Don't assume anything.
Yeah, because the easiest way to explain assuming is we, as these creatures of habit, I'll give you a scenario of you're at work. Your boss gives you a call on the phone. It's 2:30 on, Friday, and, he or she is like, hey, I need you to come into my office before the day is out. If you've been performing,
you can take that to the worst.
If you've been performing really well, you're going to be like, holy crap, Friday 2:30. He or she's going to be like, oh, so you've been doing really well. A couple of execs are going out to dinner, and we want you to, so you could see it as a good thing. But if you haven't been performing well, all of a sudden you now assume that it's a bad thing.
But that's all based on your judgment of whether or not you're. Whether you're good I mean,
well, yeah, you do, like where
and
you're at in
that's-
your position, how you look at yourself, whether you're
between you and your boss could be completely arbitrary to the truth.
well. So that's why both scenarios where you're assuming, hey, I've been performing really well, and they're going to be like, yeah, we're going to go out to dinner with some execs, and you walk in there and be like, hey, we just got totally downsized and we lost our apartment. We want to be able to keep you, but you're going to go to half salary. This is the best I could do for you.
This is not the conversation I expected to walk into.
But that's the thing is, so you're not supposed to assume, because when you do, you make these scenarios up in your head that are either very positive or very bad. Now, here's the kicker. The scenario or the vision is not the bad thing. Most likely is you either get exactly what you pictured, which typically if you do, because we're negative creatures, because we're creatures of aggression, so there's usually that like hidden negative, like we know danger's about to come, right? So we already have this danger side in us, so we assume the worst. Well, then it actually happens. Well, now it's actually happened, and it's just like, well, that's exactly what I knew it was going to be, and you already knew it was going to end. So you're already all worked up about it, and it just reinforces it. The kicker is if you think of it and it doesn't happen, now you're all upset that it didn't go the way you thought it was, even if it did go good or bad, because you're just like, well, that didn't go the way I wanted.
And these things all build upon each other.
Correct. That's why the order, by the definition of the book, is technical. Like it should be 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the order they do.
Because if you're not being impeccable with your word, that's where everything starts to crumble. Because you're like, okay, well, now they can see through the fabric of the illusion that I've put up in front of them. And
yeah, if you're impeccable with your word, meaning that you're honest in all of your doings, your expressions, your thoughts, your outputs, your work will be better. Your home life will be better. Everything around your friendships, your relationships, their friendships and relationships and their work lives, all of it will be better because you're being truly honest, impeccable. So if you can do that, then you shouldn't be able to. You shouldn't be making any assumptions because you're not going to read into anything. You're just going to be a part of the flow and let it go.
The only issue I have with impeccable is the whole perfectionist angle, and we were talking about that earlier because that's one of your weaknesses.
Yeah.
Right. That's one of your weaknesses is that you tend to lean towards the perfectionist.
No, you said.
Well, that's what it says for that.
Well, that was one of the things that you honed in on was like, that's you. And you were like pointing the finger hard at me on that. You enjoyed that a little bit, didn't you? I know.
Well, no, but I mean, I see that. Well,
of course.
I mean, I'm sure that to some extent I'm projecting too. But
of course.
Like you always say.
But as psychological beings, we always do. Whether I'm projecting good or bad or happy or sad.
To some extent, there's truth to that.
Of course there is.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation, isn't it? We're rolling right into this. Yeah, no, I like. So there's nothing.
Wait, so take nothing personal, or make no assumptions. So number 3, then, after that becomes take nothing personal. And take nothing personal is on a positive and a negative, just like no assumptions. You can't assume the positive or the negative. You just can't assume anything. Well, you also can't take anything personal. The
right, so it's not like,
negative.
oh, you're a douchebag, and it's like, well, it can also be like, dude, you had the most creative ideas I've ever heard, and blah blah blah, and like puff up your ego and make you feel real good, and you're like,
well, because
that's not good either. Like,
yeah, because the easiest way to understand that is if that person calls you a douchebag, you're not really the douchebag. They had somebody else, maybe you call them a douchebag this morning, or they cut you off in traffic because they got cut off earlier. So if they're being negative, it's because they're projecting and somebody else did it to them. Same regard is somebody's going around telling you, you did a great job. Your hair looks really awesome. I love your outfit. You look so great today.
Start from that assumption anyway.
Not assumptions, because you can't assume anything.
No, but for yourself, don't start with an assumption at all. That's great. Yeah. Start with your baseline.
Well, so this is the thing. If somebody's giving you a compliment, it has more to do with them than it does you. Same as when they give you a not compliment, when they pick on you or put you down, that also has more to do with them than it does you. So you can't take anything personal, because if they're being nice, if they're complimenting you, it's because they had a really nice day and they're in a good mood. It's not a good or a bad thing, but you shouldn't be taking it personal. You shouldn't use that as something to tell you whether you should be happy or sad or productive or not.
Well, could you even just turn that back around on them? Like, oh, well, I'm glad you're having a great day. Thank you so much for letting me know.
Why would you do that?
I mean, I don't know.
But that wouldn't be you being impeccable with your word.
Why wouldn't it? I am happy to know that you're having a great day. Obviously you are, because the way you're coming... I mean, I don't know.
Oh, I mean, if they
When
give
you're
you a
coming at me
compliment
like
or
that-
something?
Yeah, if they give me a compliment, it's, well, thank you so much. I'm glad you're having a great day. Throw it right back at them. Like, it's not about me. It's about you're having a great day.
Well, but so that's you still projecting. And,
Is it?
Well, yeah, because projecting isn't a bad or a good thing. It's,
It can't be
projecting is
either. Yeah.
projecting is whatever you are internally coming out externally. That's a projection. That's just a definition. It's never a good or a bad thing. It's only good or bad if you perceive it as such. If you take it personal. If you assume that it means this. But
Right.
if you're being impeccable with your thoughts and your actions and your words, you will take nothing
Or is
personal
it,
because
or is
there
it better
no
if you're
personal.
going to assume in a positive light instead
No,
of negative?
none of it. Don't. There's no point to it. So
Why not? I mean, can that be in a not
if you want to be in your flow, if you want to be the best you as possible, if you want to bring about the most
none of it
good
should
and
affect you
joy,
at all?
it should never affect you. Like you're saying, these blockages that you put up for yourself, you get in your own way. That's you making
So you're
assumptions.
saying you shouldn't let that change anything? Just keep being you and just keep whatever.
Well,
No, I
but-
mean I love it. I love it.
But be impeccable you, which means that you're constantly going back and seeing yourself as that honest representation. You're being impeccable. So that's why there's no blind spots, because you see yourself.
But you're not letting me, like, I come up and I call you a douchebag. You're not letting me that affect your baseline. That's your...
Yeah, why would I?
Right. Oh, I'm so sorry to feel that way. I mean, have a great day. I hope you have a
But see, and that's the thing. I used to react, which means I was still taking it personal.
Right. But I mean, if you send them off and say, hey, have a great day. I'm really sorry that you feel that way. And
If the situation calls for me to interact with that individual, so
in such a way, right.
if I'm being truly impeccable, not taking anything personal,
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. They say this
If I'm-
physically to you.
if I am truly being impeccable, making no assumptions, taking nothing personal, and then number 4, doing my best always, I will interact with the person that I'm supposed to in that situation, whether they're complimenting me or giving me a negative statement. If I'm supposed to talk to them, if I'm supposed to be a part of that because that's my flow, because I'm being impeccable with my thoughts and my actions, then that's what I will do.
Okay.
I will react if I'm supposed to, and I will not react if I'm supposed to. That is a part of being in the flow. And that's why being impeccable is the most difficult, because you will always be assessing yourself, because
Because it all stacks up on...
the only thing permanent is change. And so I'm going to modify, and as I modify, I'm going to have reactions. Well, if I can do my best to always be impeccable, most likely I won't be assuming. I most likely won't be taking anything personal, and I'll always be doing my best, so I won't react. I'll just be a part of the flow. So I will be an action, not a reaction. You asked.
No, it's great. It's great. This is great stuff.
This is why I love the 4 agreements.
Absolutely. No, and I have to read that. I have to read it.
Yeah, it's a quick read, too. I actually read it in like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, it didn't seem like a very big book. It's not.
That book should probably take most people like an hour and a half to read. I'm a slow reader. I'm getting better, though. As I've been reading more and more, I'm starting to really... My problem is my reading rate and the processing rate not intertwining correctly, so that I almost like am dyslexic, where I'm swapping words and letters and words to other spots, and just like, I get me downstairs mix up on it. It's no bueno. But,
Well, I mean, some of the concepts and some of the stuff I read. I mean, that's why I joke around with you. I'm like, it's so way beyond my ability. But I mean, I push myself for that, though. I mean, and I know you do too, to some extent. That you push yourself, even though it's maybe a little bit out of the boundaries of what you understand right now. That's the whole point, right? I mean,
the only way I'm going to get sharper is if I get ground against a sharper edge or a rougher edge, or something
here we
that
go
can help
again
me.
with the
Stone sharpening stone, iron sharp. Yeah, but I like me a good metaphor, not man. I like things with words and such.
Yeah, I can't wait until we start bringing other people on. But I think the converse that goes on, the conversation that we have with each other,
The open expression.
We have enough difference between the way we think and talk and view things that it makes it interesting. But we're close enough in opinion that it doesn't cause an argument. You know what I mean? Like, it's that nice balance.
That's your view of it.
In my view, yes.
My view is you and I are accepting enough of most things, because we're not perfect, obviously, but we are accepting enough of most things that we are, one, willing to allow that to be, but two, we are also wanting of that to be because we wish to be at peace with ourselves and our surroundings. So the combination thereof, we don't want to muddy the waters. We don't want to like stir it up too much. We do want to play devil's advocate and ask some questions.
To some extent, yeah.
Yeah, as you with the thought experiments or whatever,
stir
right?
things up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like to be Socratic in my method.
But I think we have a nice balance where it's not like we don't
have an agenda. There's no I got you.
There really isn't, but I mean in general, most of the things we talk about, we're pretty close. Like if you're off, it's by a parallel. Well, but it's not you're not completely at a different angle than me. You're
because that's mostly our perception, but see, I think the bigger thing is that we have a willingness to accept one another, that we're not we would like to have the ability to grow more than we would like the ability to be right, I think is what you and I do most. So for you and I, it's not about being right.
We're not stuck in the game.
Sometimes it is, because it's like, all right, so technically this is the way it's supposed to be. It's like, as much as I want to agree with you and do it this way too, this is what everybody else does. So hey, But so it's not even so much that you're wrong. It's just like, hey, this is how everyone else does it. And so there's we have small moments where we can correct each other in that fashion, but outside of that, we're trying to make each other better. It's never you suck at this. It's like, hey, FYI, I want you to be better because you're going to be better, then I'm going to be better, and then we'll both be better, and then things around us will be. So it's always a.
But to some extent, like the type of stuff that I like to bring up, it's not quantitative. It's not. You can't put a value marker on it. You can't.
How does a rainbow work?
It doesn't.
How does policy track? Yeah.
You can't measure these kinds of things. It's not quantitative. It's not.
Well, and that's something that's in this book, Leaders Eat Last, that Simon talks about.
There's an aspect of it that's not tangible.
There's no way utilizing empathy, to understand. Like that, to me, that's like being impeccable. When you say I'm being empathetic, when you have empathy, there's going to be a multitude of things that transpire from that one expression. And so part of what he talks about in there is that when you do this, it changes things, and you can't, you as a long-term business-minded individual can see these abilities of what empathy can give you. However, the short term, when you're thinking about only numbers, there is no ROI on this. You can't look at it and say, well, if I put in this much love, how much money do I get out? It doesn't work that way. It's not a mathematical representation. So yeah, you can't quantify it because it's an emotion.
Right. But and I guess that's what I'm trying to say is if that's something that puts you on balance in your business sense or otherwise, if that's something that puts you on balance and makes you function better, what's to say that's not quantitative?
Well, but
what's to say that you can't quantify a value to that? You can't say per se. You can say, to say I've been saved by Christ, that doesn't prove anything.
And that's the thing. So on a short term,
but on the other hand, you can say everything I've accomplished since having that revelation wouldn't be possible without that revelation.
And that can be quantified over time.
Right.
So in a short term of a couple months, a couple of years.
This
you
deep
really
shit, man. This is really
well, but you're really not going to see it. You look at 30 years. Now you got something you can quantify. So, correct, you can't quantify emotions. However, you can quantify the difference of where you were at to where you are because of those emotions or your actions due to them, and so on. So, Yeah, it is quantifiable, but yeah, totally not. Yeah, I know. We started with 369, and here we are.
It's not a surprise. I mean, 369 could go anywhere.
Yeah, and then we got to the four agreements from
I mean, it's literally the fabric of the reality of the universe that we live in. 369 is everything. I mean, well,
it's the magic number.
3 is the magic number, I think.
I feel it has. I think
There
3 has
really
a
is.
greater strength than 9.
I mean, when you think about it, like larger things are built on smaller things, and you can't get much smaller than the whole concept of 1 and 3. I mean, everything could be built on the triangle. It's a powerful shape. You know, 1, 2, 3. Here we go. It's always 3.
Well, yeah. What happens when you add up 1, 2, and 3? You get 6. 1 plus 2 plus 3. That's 6.
Fibonacci, man, that's some wacky stuff too. I mean,
That's what I would very much like. You know, the whole Akashic record things, the Akashic field, the place where there's just this knowledge. I want to get into that. So like the whole idea of doing the DMT trips where you can actually meditate and produce the DMT in your own body, or the right diet and things like that, you can actually start to have these astral projections. To actually go to that place and just take this knowledge, you know, Tesla.
well, what you're
Einstein
talking
kind of
about,
stuff.
what you're talking about without drugs is the spiritual experience,
Yeah,
and that could take years. I mean, you can't. Who's gonna provide for you while you're doing this? Who's gonna provide for your loved ones?
so I've been doing this for years.
Okay.
I've been attempting to meditate, guided and unguided, to have these travels, to remove myself from this realm, to let my body be no longer, and just allow my consciousness to yeah. That's what my personal journal's about.
Okay.
My internal journeys. We can do it.
So we travel into a weightless, timelessness, void type reality.
Well, there's but see,
Yes, there are. Yes.
multiverse. There's infinite.
Well, we're not talking about physical reality. Multiverse is a whole physical reality thing. We're talking about the reality of things. All right, the layers of consciousness, because consciousness is reality. If you ask me,
I think consciousness allows us to perceive what reality is at that
no,
time with
consciousness
the
is
construct.
reality. Because consciousness is the.
Love how you're like, no.
I did say no. Because consciousness is the end all be all, the end result of the final product of this. Okay, so the earth, it creates, of course, it creates vegetation, it creates animal life. And the pinnacle of that is humanity. Humanity has the aspect of self-reflection. Self-reflection casts the seed back out into the universe, into the cosmos, to create reality over again. This is the whole principle. This is what spiritual leaders have been trying to teach us for years.
I view myself as a consciousness, as a being of energy.
Yeah.
So I don't
That is truth.
I don't identify as a human. I identify as a energy. So as that consciousness, I can exist either as a human.
That's written
or
in
as
that state of mind.
Yeah. Well, it's written in my perspective of what I understand as a human as I transcend to the other side. So what I perceive with my human sensory system, because that's my perception system. So yeah.
Well, those are your limits. I mean,
it's me trying to understand anti-gravitational propulsion systems on a reactionary propulsion mind. Yeah, well, that's that's the easiest way for me to express it. I'm trying to put in words an understanding of an idea that in this body doesn't exist because it's not my construct.
So you're
but my consciousness or my inner
you're a two-dimensional image trying to comprehend
fifth dimension shit.
The fifth dimension.
Or shit, the 36th, the 36th dimension. I don't even know. Because maybe that's the being.
I was just
going to
say the two-dimensional trying to comprehend the third dimension.
Because I think it's deeper
or
than
the
that.
third and fourth dimension as it is.
No,
but-
like I think we're like one-dimensional creatures trying to comprehend infinite dimensions. That's how unintelligent our bodies as humans are. But us as actual energy and light,
I can't disagree with that.
a true consciousness is
Well,
that
'cause-
energy and light.
Well, because this I've actually thought of as a great topic of conversation, and we'll branch out from this, I'm sure, several different ways. But
We say this every time. I'm pretty sure that's the purpose of this show. The conversation
To keep making
always
those
continues.
claims.
It comes back around again with the echo. I'm telling you, who's on first.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm just going through the motions now at this point. I apologize.
I'm sorry.
That was rude of me.
That's all right, and it just totally derailed me.
You were talking about how we're going to come back to the conversation, and because it's
Yeah. I don't know, dude. I just totally lost it on that. It cracked me up. It is getting, just so everybody knows, it's getting really late. And I'm actually quite tired. I could probably continue this for hours, but it would become much, much less intelligible. And we are on what? We are, Mark, what? It's like 1.5,
more
2.
140.
We should probably stop.
This is our longest episode to date, Mr.
Oh, yeah.
Gemini.
It's been real.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
exhausted.
same bat channel, same bat time. Yeah, push that button. Thank you all, fam. We appreciate it. Talk
Love
to y'all
y'all.
later.
Enough